Hey family, today's teaching is titled Why Slave Masters Banned Drums. It's going to be a good teaching, y'all. Let's jump into it. All right. Why is it that slave masters who allowed the singing, the clapping, and certain instruments, right? But they feared the drums so much that it was outlawed? The answer lies in the drum's power, guys. Not just as an instrument, but as a weapon of communication, culture, and resistance. First, let's talk about the African drum, and it was used as a tool of power, okay? In many West African societies, the drum was not merely for entertainment, it was a language. Talking drums could send messages across villages, summoning people together, warning of danger, and even announcing celebrations. So, for enslaved Africans who had been torn from their homelands, the drum was a lifeline, a way to preserve memory, culture, and solidarity. But see, this is what the slaveholders feared, one of the many things. But what was power for the enslaved became terror for the enslaver. Slave masters quickly realized that the same drum that carried joy could also carry strategy. 1. Communication across plantations. Africans could send coded messages that slaveholders couldn't understand. So anytime these slave owners, and even we see even to this day, that racist white folk, if there's something that they don't understand or they can't identify with, they instantly want to outlaw it or either brand it as something that's either demonic, not good, or horrible. And it's because of their ignorance and their own fear. Secondly, the drum was organizing resistance. The beat could gather people for escape or rebellion. And 3, maintaining unity. Rhythm strengthened bonds, sustaining African identity in the face of forced assimilation. The white man took their names. They couldn't have their African names. They could not speak their language. They could barely keep much of their own heritage. But because you can't strip somebody of who they truly are, the beauty, the rhythm of the drums, the culture, it still traveled with them. Still did. That shows the beauty and resilience of the enslaved African. And those of us who are descendants from them, y'all, that stuff stays in the bloodline, honey. You can't beat that out of us. You can't negative talk that out of us. You cannot discriminate that out of us. And that is the resilience that white folks see. Let's keep going. To slave owners, these drums were dangerous and they wanted control, not connection. We know that. So let's talk about the Stono Rebellion of 1739. History gives us a clear example. So in South Carolina, enslaved Africans, many from the Kingdom of Congo, rose up in what became known as the Stono Rebellion. Witnesses recorded that the rebellion began with the sound of a drum, summoning others to join, and this terrified the slaveholders. The revolt was suppressed, but its memory lived on. So, and in response, in 1740, South Carolina passed the Negro Act. Among its restrictions, it explicitly banned enslaved people from using drums, horns, or other instruments which may call together or give sign or notice to one another of their, quote, wicked designs and purposes. Let me break that down, fam. These white folk were so afraid that these enslaved Africans would revolt against them that they passed a law called the Negro Act, which restricted and banned enslaved Africans from using drums, horns, and other instruments which may call together or sign or notice for them to come together. And then the white man said that these instruments were designed as wicked and for wicked purposes. Ain't that just like the racist white man? Anything that will come against their scheme, they want to deem as wicked. And they did so much till they had to make an act in 1740 in South Carolina, an actual Negro Act. Come on, white folk. Don't you see what some of your ancestors have done? This they don't want taught in school. Thus, Project 2025. Thus, sanitizing Black history. We can't let this die, Black folk. I know we are sitting back and letting the white folk march in the streets, but damn it, we got to keep our history alive. Beyond South Carolina, a pattern of suppression. This fear wasn't just limited to one colony across America. In Jamaica, guys, colonial officials restricted drums after Maroons used them to organize resistance. In Haiti, drums were associated with voodoo ceremonies that fueled unity, leading to the Haitian Revolution. In Louisiana and other French colonies, noise laws were enacted to keep drums and horns from stirring collective energy. Everywhere Africans were enslaved, the pattern was the same. Ban the drum, weaken the people. Let me tell you something else about the drum. It's not just a physical instrument. It's a spiritual thing, honey. When you get on that drum as an African or a descendant of an African and you start beating, honey, it is something, it's a God conscience that flares up in us. Some people may call it an anointing. Some may call it a force, a spirit. And it can conjure up godliness. It can conjure up emotion. It conjures up it even can conjure up evil and dispel evil. You can get rid of evil spirits by beating on a drum. See, this thing wasn't just natural with the white man and their hate for drums. It was because it stirred up that wickedness that was in their very soul and essence. And they didn't like what that drum made them feel like. Because no devil wants to be exposed and expelled. The cultural response. Creativity under constraint. But here's the miracle. Even stripped of drums, Africans in America did not lose rhythm. They transformed it. They used body percussion, honey. You can't stop us. We are music. We are rhythm. Clapping of our hands, stomping of our feet, and patting, and became new forms. Patting juba became forms of drumming. The ring shout, a spiritual circle, dancing using shuffling feet, clapping and call and response, singing, preserve both worship and rhythm. And new instruments, the banjo, washboard, and ham bone traditions kept African polyrhythms alive in disguise. My God, today, y'all. This resilience laid the foundation for nearly every major form of American music. Spirituals, blues, jazz, gospel, rock, and hip hop. The very heartbeat of American music is African rhythm that refused to die. So what does this teach us? The story of the drum is not just about fear, it's about resilience, y'all. Enslavers tried to silence a people by silencing our instruments, but Africans found new ways to make the earth itself sing. Ah! That's good to my soul. Not that our enslaved had to go through what they had to, but it shows that we wouldn't let it die. And that we are so powerful in everything that comes with us that even the white man alone, no matter what act they had to pass or whatever they tried to ban, it never stopped us. It only propelled us. You're resilient, Black folk.